it's too dark, for Pete's sakes. Good evening. This is Laird, VE3LKS, and welcome to the COVID-19 Rag Chew, week 12, Wednesday night. Anybody wishing to check in, please come now.
VA3KJI.
VA3 Romeo Tango Victor.
VA3 BTQ.
Victor Echo 3 Papa Whiskey Juliet.
Victor Echo 3 Charlie Romeo Uniform.
Victor Alpha 3 Tango Papa Sierra. Victor Echo 3 Victor Golf Juliet.
Victor Alpha 3 Delta Charlie Echo.
VE3 HIX.
VE3 IRB.
Okay, so far I've got VA3 KJI Grant, VA3 RTV Jeffrey, VA3 BTQ Jackie, VE3 PWJ Peter, VE3 CRU Bill, VA3 TPS Steve, VE3 VGJ Joe, VA3 DCE Doug, VE3 HIX Bob, VE3 IRB Robert. If anybody else wants to check in, now's your opportunity.
VE3 KZT.
Okay, I copy VE3 KZT John and VE3 NMD Darren. Anybody else?
VA3 WBZ.
Okay, and William, VA3 WBZ. And with that, we'll go back to the top of the list to Grant. And I guess it's wide open Wednesday, which is a good thing because no one sent me any ideas for the Ragnet tonight. And so take it away, Grant. It's wide open, so whatever you'd like to talk about.
You put me on the spot. One thing I never have a problem doing is talking, but sorry. As far as wide open Wednesday, I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, I missed the last couple of nights. We were up at the shack, and so I'm putting some radio stuff together to see if I can get there. I highly doubt it because we're down the hill, like basically on the water. I know I can get to Peterborough, and I've got the LNZ, but I may have a mag mount up there, so I may, if it's still there, I'll put it on my wife's car, which we take up there, and I'll go up to the top of the hill, and I'll bring my Chinese quad band with me, so I'll have lots of power, and I'll be back in business. So I don't think you've missed me, but what's been going on the last 2 nights?
Oh, I don't know what we've been doing the last couple nights. I think last night we were talking about what makes ham radio operators unique from other hobbies. And the night before that, I think we were also talking about the space craft that went up and stuff like that. So very good. Well, why don't you just put up like an 80-foot tower there at your trailer, and then you don't have to bother climbing the hill. And just run a with your license. I think you can run 200 watts. So, it doesn't matter if you interrupt the neighbors at all. They're just up there camping anyway, so they shouldn't mind. And anyways, good luck with that experimenting. It'll be interesting to see what can happen there. VA3 RTV, Jeffrey.
Yes, good evening, Laird, and everybody there. First of all, I want to thank you very much, Jackie. I did find the ice cream, and I had a nice drink of it. No, just kidding. And it survived the ice pack, so it's now in the fridge, and thank you very much for that. And because it's Wide Open Wednesday, a little bit of sad news. A lot of you know that I've been looking after a homeless fella, Paul, and he did pass away at 1 o'clock this morning. So my day's been pretty busy making all kinds of arrangements and phone calls, but everything looks good. And with that, back to you, Led.
Oh, sorry to hear that, Jeffrey, but it's one of those situations where it's probably for the better anyways. And yeah, it's never good when someone passes away, but glad you were there to be able to help him out and take care of him. And Jackie, what's this about ice cream? Where am I supposed to go looking for my ice cream, Jackie? And it's just strange. You are the next one on the list, so let me know so I can run out, while you're talking and get it, so it doesn't melt.
DA3 BTQ. Hello, everybody. This was a special deal, but if you want ice cream, let me know what flavor, and I will get nothing but Kawartha Dairy, because to me, that's the best there is. And I just gave Jeffrey a little present of ice cream, thinking that it might melt, so I packed it with ice, and he obviously got it okay. Over.
Yes, and the crowd's going crazy here in the shack. They agree that Kawartha Dairy is one of the best ice creams out there. Nothing better than a trip to the Enniskillen General Store on a hot day to get one of their small scoops. Yeah, you order a small, and it's the size of the 5-pin bowling ball, and it's great. So I won't just be there, Jackie. Another place to get good Kawartha is actually at the Kawartha place, just south of Bancroft. We used to go camping there at Silent Lake a lot, and the boys would always late in the afternoon convince me somehow, even though they were only 4 and 6, to head over and get some ice cream at the Kawartha Dairy Shop there. Always a good time. VE3 PWJ, Peter.
Well, you guys are lucky you can eat all this ice cream, because I got to watch my sugar, so I don't get too much of a go at ice cream anymore, so that's the way it goes. But anyway, today we've been busy, put all the LED lights on both of my sheds, so we'll have a look at it tonight, see if the backyard has got lots of light out there. So we've been having a good time. My grandson was always wanting to use the table saw, so he was the little project that he's doing there. So we managed to pass the day in. So go ahead and get some more beans there, Laird, and we'll talk to you next time around.
Okay, very good, Peter. And yeah, it's good to train them how to use power equipment at a young age and teach them how to use it properly, especially because it'll pay dividends in the future for them. Too many kids don't even know which end of a drill to hold nowadays. And every time they need something, they got to pay, $100 to have some guy come through the front door, and then another $100 an hour after that. So it's a good thing they have it's a good thing to have a good example to follow. Hopefully a good example anyways. You still have all your fingers, right? Let's see. VE3 CRU, Bill.
VE3CRU here. Good evening to all. Been busy today in the garage as well as outside, pulling up weeds and all the rest of the good stuff. I'll be doing some antenna testing there for 144 a bit later when it cools off further. But in the garage, I did find some stuff that I thought, gee, maybe I could make a new home of this with Victor Alpha 3 Romeo Tango Victor. And of course, there's some other items that I might dedicate to VE3 IRB as custodian, since they belong to an LDC member of your club. And they say, hey, waste not, want not. There's some things there that, as I say, if I guess it's VE3 DKW number 2 could benefit from having, but so far I haven't aroused any interest with them. So anyway, with that, I won't hold it back to net.
Okay, very good, Bill. Glad to hear you're making progress there with the garage and whatnot. And I need to do the same thing. The only thing is I don't have too much radio equipment out there to go through. It's mostly just junk, I guess. But stuff that I cherish. It's amazing what we collect over time. VA3 TPS, Steve.
Okay, good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency. VE3LKS, VA3TPS, up here in sunny, windy Fenelon Falls. Not too much to report but today, just puttering around doing some more chores and getting some stuff done and taking it easy. And now I'm playing on the radio a little bit, so that's about it for me here, Laird. Back to you.
How are the bugs up there so far this year? Have they had a chance to come out yet?
Yeah, they've been in and out. They were bad for last weekend for a couple of days, and then they haven't been too bad this week. I'm not out usually after dark. You know, I don't want to get lost. So, yeah, but they haven't been too bad. Not as bad as in some previous years, that's for sure.
Okay, very good. So you haven't had to go into, have a couple of pints and top up the blood levels. Perfect. Sounds good. VE3 VGJ Joe.
Good evening, Laird, and everybody on frequency. You didn't miss me there tonight. Hi. Not a lot to report on tonight. You meant the Course ice cream. Yes, that's really good. And whenever I go up to Enniskillen, I get the baby, believe it or not. More than enough for me. I'm not a real big sweet tooth. I just like a little bit. And that's more than enough for me. And the one you're talking is Bancroft. I see that one quite often, and we just keep going by it. There's usually such a lineup there. There's no way on earth we're going to stand in that lineup. It's quite popular there. And the other fellow yesterday checked in, John, I think it was. He was the fellow that met us at the White Feather Farms up there, was asking about the logging software. I don't know if he's going to be on there tonight, but I can probably give him, or Bob there, give them the location where to have a look at it. There's a free version you can sort of download and at least learn about it. And there's some really good videos on how to use it. Bob told me about that, HEX, and also Darren, DND there. Back to you.
Yeah, that was John KZT, and he is on here this evening. So maybe we can hook you guys up for a few minutes and let you chat it out. Maybe after we do our first round, we'll come back and let you guys chat, because it sounds like something that we'd all benefit from. And maybe Bob HIX can put his 2 cents in his worth as well. And maybe Steve TPS. I know Steve gave me some information last night. I think I spoke incorrectly when I said that we could use the club software. It may not be quite as simple as that. So I'll let Steve explain that, and you guys can have a little go once we get the first round done here. Let's see, VA3 DCE Doug.
VA3DCE, good evening, Laird. I was counting on you coming up with an idea of what to talk about tonight. You've disappointed me, Laird. I've never lost for words, but tonight I haven't got anything to say. I took a drive down to Oshawa today and back, and the weather was beautiful, and it was just nice watching what's going on in all the fields. Back to you, Laird.
Very good. Well, sorry to let you down, Doug, but it has been, what is this, week 12? and this is our 60th night, and I think only a couple of people have actually ever sent me any meeting things. So the rest I've been trying to come up on my own. So I'm more than game, and this is to anybody on here. I'm just not saying this to Doug, but I'm game for anyone to send me an email with ideas that they'd like to discuss. It would be nice not to have to worry about it for a few days once in a while. Let's see who's up next. My goodness. VE3HIX, Bob, take it away.
Good evening, Larry. Good evening, everybody. I'd be interested to see what you have to say about the software and whether or not we can all use the same version of it here or not from the club, or what your ideas are on that. Jeffrey, if you're on, I haven't contacted you back today. We talked about Paul earlier, and I'm really sorry to hear about him. I've met him through you several times, and you told me that Veterans Affairs are going to be taking care of everything, but there are a lot of small bits and pieces that I discovered here. I'll just go through a couple of them right now and hand it back over. Of course, the final income tax has to be done for income that was made this year up to this date. I assume the 2019 income tax is already in. Service Canada gives everybody there's a cat. Service Canada gives $2,500 to everybody for burial costs, but you have to apply for it, of course. I don't know if Veterans Affairs does that or not. Does he have a health card? And with that, you'd have to cancel that. Is he into the HST and the Trillium grants? And you'd have to cancel those. And you probably need a couple of copies of the death certificate for yourself. And Canada Post, for mailing address could be changed, or his mailing address could be changed, but I'm sure the nursing home would just collect that and forward that to you. And something simple like, did he have cable TV in his room? Would that have to be canceled, or would the nursing home do all that type of thing? Just small things like that, Jeffrey. Not the big things, not the stuff that Veterans Affairs is going to take care of. And with that, back to you, Larry, VE3HIX.
Well, Bob, it sounds like you need to make another one of your booklets up, and we can put it on the Dropbox, so we can reference it later on when other people need it as well. It sounds like you may have done this once or twice before, so I'm sure we could benefit from this knowledge that you have. And yeah, I can only imagine all the things you have to do. Like I was just thinking when you're listing that off, if say I was a croak tonight. Just things like, where's all the insurance papers and all that sort of stuff. So, although my wife probably knows exactly where those are, she'd be cashing them tomorrow. Oh my. Anyways, let's see. Who's next on the list? VE3IRB, Robert. Good evening.
VE3IRB. I just wanted to say thanks to Bob for sending me that information on the Collins. I read through it, really quite interesting. The guy was quite easy to understand, even for somebody like myself. Now, for me to actually do it would be another question, but at least I have an idea on better understanding of how to deal with some of these older radios. Bill, yes, I'd be interested in taking a look at whatever. And other than that, I'll throw it back to you. Just great day today, and away we go. Back to you.
And how was the genealogy last night, Bob? Did you discover that you came from an ape after all?
Well, we knew that one already. No, I've actually been involved in genetic testing for some time. I've been tested by all the major companies and quite interested in it. It's another hobby. And genealogy, I've been working on my family tree for years. So this was a wee bit of an overview, a couple tools I hadn't heard of. So you always learn something quite interesting. Back to you.
Oh, very good. Yes, I'm somewhat interested in genealogy. I started to do the family tree, And then, of course, other members of the family say, "Oh yeah, we're interested. We're interested." So you give them an ID and password to get on and add their branches of the family tree, and then no one ever does anything. And then they come back and say, "Well, why haven't you done anything more?" And it's just like you just want to reach out and throttle them. But the joys of family, you can't do that. But yeah, it is fun, and it is neat to see all the little twists and turns along the way too, and all the little tidbits of information that you never knew before, but you find out when you're digging around in files. Let's see, VE3KZT, John. Good evening.
Good evening, Larry. All those on frequency. I don't have anything added to daily chat, but I'm continually looking for information and help here. So I'm trying to get the tower and coax up, and I'm looking for someone that could run a test on 100 feet of hard line before I glue it to the tower. Have the fittings on the ends on, but it's no means of checking it. So. Back to you, E3KZT, and I'm interested in our logging program for sure.
Okay, very good. So in case some didn't catch that, John is putting hardline up his tower, and he just needs some way to test his hardline. So if anyone has that capability, you might want to get hold of John and maybe get together and give that a quick test to make sure everything's okay with it, so he doesn't have to put it up and then take it down again. Let's see, VE3 NMD Darren. Oh, this isn't good. Darren, you're just scratching and no audio, just noise. Okay, sorry, Darren. That was all we got was white noise and no audio per se. So I'll tell you what, try to find maybe a different location or up the power or something, and I'll get back to you after William. VA3 WBZ, good evening.
Good evening, Laird. Nova's on net. I just listened to what Bob was saying about when people pass away and everything's got to get done and all that. I just went through the same thing, Bob, with my mother passing away, and also being the executor of the estate of that. There's a lot of stuff that has to get done there, and even for probate. And it's funny, they make probate sound like a real big deal sort of thing, but if you have all the information when the person has that, you can give them all that information about half an hour in their office and all that stuff. It took me probably about, maybe a month and a half or so to figure out exactly what has to get done on that. But finally, it's in the courts now down in Brantford, so hopefully it shouldn't take too long down there. A couple of weeks from what they're saying down there. Back to work today for a day painting. I was on the, didn't have to get on the wrong end of a shovel down there today, which is a good thing. Painting inside, it's air conditioned as well. The only hard part is bending over when you're painting, because everything else is on the floor now. It's all covered up, mind you, because hardwood floors are in. So it's all covered up, and you're painting in that. As long as I don't fall over on my noggin, I guess I'm going to be okay. And nothing else really, guys. That's about it. Everything else is kind of rosy.
Oh, very good, William. Some people would say that if I fell over on my noggin, it would probably be an improvement. Just out of curiosity, were you able to follow up on the spray paint today at all?
No, I was not. Like I said, I had to go to work this morning. I got a phone call saying to go into work and all that stuff. So I got my stuff in there working today for painting and all that. I had a little bit of stuff first thing in the morning I had to go and do. After that, I went down to the job site and I ended up... that was my mistake, going to the job site, because I could have gotten it done if I didn't go to the job site. But hopefully tomorrow afternoon, because I had to work tomorrow morning for a few hours. But in the afternoon, I'm hoping
I can get into CarQuest, I believe you said, and get my paint there. And I think there's a CarQuest on Shepherd Ave East between Kennedy and Martin Grove, someplace, or not Kennedy and McCowan, I think, somewhere around there. So I'm going over there to tomorrow to have a little gander and see what I can find. Thank you, Laird.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's hope everything works out for you there. And just looking online, Darren is saying that he wish he had a tower. Well, Darren, that can be rectified. Let's see. Stephen, VE3SXL. He says, good evening, Laird, checking in from an undisclosed field. You could say he's he's outstanding in his field. Oh, and he's enjoying an adult beverage. Cheers. Very good, Steve, and glad to have you on the YouTube channel tonight. And let's see, let's go back up and let's see if Darren was able to find a bit better spot. VE3NMD. Okay, nothing heard. Gary Zed also just checked in. He said, happy 60th, referring to our 60th night. I sure hope it's the 60th night. I'm quite sure it is. How about a COVID subject, given the name of the chew? Are you seeing people wearing masks when they should? Let's see. Oh, and WBZ is also checking in online. And very good. So I guess we can do that for the second round there. So let's just take a break and see if there's anybody else that wants to check in with the Rag Chew this evening. The COVID-19 Rag Chew, that is. And if so, please come now. This is Laird, VE3LKS.
VE3 RPM.
VE3 IGX.
Okay, we acknowledge VE3 RPN Scott and VE3 IGX Cam. And since it's Wide Open Wednesday, the world is your oyster. Take it away, Scott.
Oh, there's an opening you might regret. Anyway, good to hear you there, VE3LKS, VE3 RPN. Hey, everybody, I've been relieved of babysitter duty. I don't know what I did wrong, but I got to write it down so I don't forget. Anyway, always good to hear you guys, and they're doing a super great job. I've been listening, even though I haven't been able to transmit. Yeah, just to let you know, Laird, don't forget there when you're looking at all your family there, looking at all those papers, for when you're gone. You got a bunch of uncles. You got Uncle Scott, Uncle Joel, Uncle Jeff, let's see who else, Uncle Bob, and it just goes on and on, so just don't leave us out of the package. What else? I can't think of much else anyway. I finally got freedom today. I went out and bought an electric weed whacker, I guess is what you call it, and then I got home and I thought, oh crap, it needs a battery. Anyway, hey, maybe I can use the new battery charger for its 20 volts, rig up something for the radio. Over to you there, Rag Chew Control, VE3 RPN.
Well, Scott, if you needed a haircut, you didn't need a weed whacker. I could have lent you, a hedge trimmer over here.
I might take you up on it.
I mean, look at the perfect job my son did on my beam there. If you're online, that's not bad. Anyways, let's see who's next. VE3IGX Cam. Good evening.
Good evening, Laird, and everyone on frequency. Let's see what I did today. I got 9 holes of golf in early this morning. And then after lunch, I cut the grass in the backyard and I mowed the lawn in the front yard. And just regarding the N3 FJP software, I'm just on the website there now. You may install and use the field day contest log on multiple computers at one field day site with one registration. And a club registration is only for use at the location of the club station. Providing club members registration numbers for their personal use is not allowed. So with that, I'll give it on back to you. VE3LKS, VE3IGX.
Perfect. Well, and that's a perfect segue into our next little discussion here that we're going to have for a few minutes. And that's what Steve brought to my attention last night, too. I guess the biggest question is, how is the ARRL going to handle all the collection this year? My understanding is the ARRL is going to want everyone to submit individually. So I would submit, Cam would submit, Bob would submit, everyone would submit individually, but then somehow you can reference that it's also for a club, and they will just take all our points and combine them together. So we wouldn't have to worry about duplicates and all that sort of junk this year. It would be whatever my score was plus whatever Cam's was plus whatever Bob's was, and they would just add them all together. But there could be several different things going on there. So I'll tell you what. Let's go up to Bob first and see what he has to say. VE3HIX, VE3LKS.
Well, if that's the way they're going to do it, and they haven't given us any details of exactly how they're going to score this and how it fits in with the existing software. Now, the software we have a club license for it, and it's for use of members of the club. There are ways around it where you could pretend that you're all at one site, and the way you would do that would be like the old days when we had a 40-meter voice phone tent and an 80-meter CW tent and a 15-meter data tent and this kind of thing. So if everyone can just stick to their own band and their own mode, that would actually work, and it would be the same thing as being at the club site. But you're only allowed one there's our cat again, only allowed one contact per mode per band is the way it goes, and the software has just been changed so that the 1D working from home can contact other 1D stations for the class, and it will count. So that's one way around it. I had an idea that the other way around it would be against the rules for the software itself, and that would be to just put your own name and your what band you're working on for each contact. That's done simply in the software, and then the whole thing gets turned in as a club. Darren would take what you got and import it into his with the repeats not allowed turned off, so that you could have repeats. So I don't know if how far against the rules that is, or if we want to go that way whatsoever. What do you think, Laird?
Oh man, you're asking the wrong guy. I'm the one who has allergies during field days, so I'm the one who comes out, helps set up, and then goes home and breathes the air conditioning for a few more hours, and then comes back out, makes a few contacts, starts sneezing, has a hot dog, and goes home again. So I think we need more of the field day specialists. Let's see what Steve says. VA3 TPS.
Okay, I knew you were going to do that, Laird. Well, my understanding is they haven't waived that 1,000 foot, I believe it is circle, where all stations, if you're going to use one call sign, all stations have to be in that circle. So it has to be everybody's individual call sign. And I believe they're going to run it like they do with the big contest club, like Contest Club of Ontario and all the big contests. You put down your contest club's name, and these big contests, they allow you which club scores the most points. So I'm going to top it for a second. I believe that's what their goal is going to be this year. Now, mind you, I haven't heard anything or seen anything else about it yet. So maybe we're going to have to send a quick email off to somebody at the field day committee and verify this. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Let's see who else was on here that was What about Aldo? Aldo, you're not lurking in the wings, are you? VA3AG. Okay, nothing heard. Joe, VE3VGJ.
Yes, Laird, I'm on the learning curve here as well. This will be my first contest entering in that, so I'm listening very carefully here what's being said, and I'll follow what the guidelines the guys come up with. But what maybe John, VE3KZT, might want to do is to go to the site, Google November 3 Foxtrot Juliet Papa and amateur radio software, and just load up the software and just experiment with it, have some fun with it, like I was showing you what I was doing there on that when we tested the Zoom meeting, Laird. Just to just to get a feel for it, how it works and how easy it is, and get an idea. And then as things happen and we get the proper rules or understand how we're supposed to submit stuff, you've already got a bit of a handle on it. Back to you.
Yes, and I don't know if Darren's in a spot where he can make it in the repeater yet. Darren, are you available on the radio? No, still no. Okay, we heard a lot of static, so we know you're there, but we'll take that as a no. Well, I'll tell you what, maybe what we can do, and unfortunately it'll probably be the retired guys this will fall onto. But maybe fellas like Steve and Bob and Jeffrey and maybe Cam, you guys can check the ARRL site and see if you can find more definitively how they're going to handle field day this year in groups. It was my understanding that they were going to waive the 1,000-foot and let people operate from home, but then enter it as a club score. So I don't know. So maybe a couple of guys can work on that. And then if everybody's interested, today's Wednesday? Maybe report back tomorrow and Friday what you find out. And we can discuss it a bit more. And then maybe if we have to, we can have a quick Zoom meeting on Sunday night, this coming Sunday night, to discuss what everything was found out. And we can also maybe look at if the software is not going to be flexible enough. I believe Aldo said there was a free logging software out there for field day. So, we may have to look at something like that. Let me just drop it. But anyways, if everyone can take a look, maybe we'll get lucky at finding the information we need, and I'll try to too when I have a bit of a break. But if we can all look at it, maybe we'll be able to come up with a more definitive answer, and maybe take some screenshots of what you see and stuff like that. And then if we do have a quick meeting this Sunday, we can talk about that and show everybody what we found. And then the following Sunday, we could have more of a set meeting where we, if we can decide on which software we're going to use, if we are going to use another piece of software, that we can look at that and how to set it up and how to use it. I hope that makes sense. Anybody have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, there. I'm just looking at the ARRL website for the temporary rule waivers for Field Day 2020. And of course, the one is for the Class D stations to be able to work other Class D stations. And then the other is the 2020 aggregate club score. Normally, our club score is only included in the Class A and Class F entries, but for this year, they're going to allow it in all entries. And that's basically, like I was saying, it's just going to be each club will be recognized for the total score of their total participants, all submitting individual scores but putting their club name down.
Okay, so there's nothing in there about waiving the 1,000 feet and people being able to work from home. Well, how could you have a 1D station if you're not working from home and be part of a club?
Well, you can't, but that's why the second
for this year, in addition to the just for this year, is the allowing 1Ds from home to put the club they belong to down, and for this year there'll be a total what they call aggregate club score.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood you. I thought you said you wouldn't be able to do that. So we all can work from home and aggregate it as a club. I'm assuming that's correct. Correct?
Yes, that's what it's saying right here that I'm looking at now. If you Google ARRL field day, it shows you the temporary rule waivers. And there's nothing there but the 1,000-foot circle, or 300 meters, I guess it is. But, I mean, you can still operate as a club, I guess, if you can set up and do social distancing and stuff. But this way they're allowing members to stay home, use your own call sign work, whatever bands, modes you want, put in your score, and your score will just get for a total aggregate club score.
Yes. So now the added thing is, will they update the software? Like the people who have field day software, will they update it so you will submit with your own call sign, but then have a place where you can input your club name? So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with the software vendors.
My understanding is Scott and Kimberly for the N3FJP have already released the updated one. I haven't downloaded it yet, so I haven't had a look at it to see what it does. But I think they will. You can use any software to submit it to, or total your score and submit it to the, I think they have a web place to put it in your score, and you use any software you want to submit your score.
Okay, very good. Okay, sounds good, Steve. A great start already, and we'll work on it a bit more. Any other questions or comments? So I guess the next question is, since we're submitting an individual score, can we use the club software, or do we all either A, have to buy a copy? I think it's only like $10, or can we use another piece of software that's free? So that's something else we'll have to consider. Anybody have any comments on that, or any insight into whether we can use the club software but input our own call sign?
Yeah, Larry, I don't believe you can. The club software we have for us for field day has a password that's assigned to VE3 NSR, so you can't put another call sign in.
Okay, very good. So I guess we've narrowed it down that we can work from home. We can submit as an aggregate, but now we just have to determine. I guess we don't even need to determine which software we want to use, but it'd be nice if we were all using the same thing. So if guys want to spend the $10 on this software, or look at that free version of software that's out there, and I wish Aldo was on, because I think it was Aldo that told us about it. So something to consider. Any further comments on that? Okay, nothing heard. So I will take another call for check-ins before we head back to the top. This is VE3 LKS.
VE3 IRB with a quick comment.
Go ahead, Robert.
As somebody that's inexperienced in this, I like the idea of keeping the software and just having us pay the $10. Keep it simple. It's a learning curve for next year when we would be all hopefully operating together. I say keep it simple, $10. If people want to do something similar or different, let them, but keep it simple. Have the club go for the software and have everybody just pay $10. Back to you.
Okay, very good. Yeah, the club already owns the software. It's just that now that like I would be operating individually, Joe would be operating, you would be operating individually. I guess it doesn't really matter that we're using the same software, because when we submit, I guess the ARL will have a way for us to indicate a club too. But yeah, yeah, and for $10, if everyone's using the same software, that's neither here nor there either, probably for most of us. So yeah, we'll have to look into that, and I'm really curious of what that free one was and what it looks like. But I know the one that the club has is really slick, and it's nice having everything all on one screen. It tells you how many points you've got, which regions you've worked, and all sorts of things. So it's really handy. Let's see. Let's go back to the top to VA3 KJI Grant, and hope we haven't put you to sleep there, buddy.
Nah, I'm multitasking. Yeah, that's the word. Which, of course, nobody can actually really do. At least that's what my boss is, my wife. Two things. I don't want to belabor any of it, and I'm far from an expert on it, but I have buried both parents. The death tax sounds like a great thing from the government. It's $2,500 to help you with the cost of burials. And then, of course, the next year you have to claim it on that person's income tax. So there's nothing for free in this world. That was that one. And they mentioned something about a mask, people wearing masks. So I've been getting out and about probably more than I should, I guess. But I have one in my pocket for when you get less than the 2-meter separation. But it's funny, like I went to Hollanda's, none of the staff were wearing it because they were crawling over each other behind the counter. And most places, it's about 50-50. I see staff and patrons wearing them, so I don't know if we're heading in the right direction or not. More and more things starting to open. We have the curve is up and down like a toilet seat lid. So I don't know. We're going to have to really keep an eye on this, or we're going to be right back where we started. Over.
Yes, it's interesting, the stats on this. You can do all sorts of things with numbers, and that's what I do at work. If something doesn't work, the boss will say, "Can you make it so it looks better?" But for instance, they say the number of cases is up in Ontario, which it probably is. But what they fail to tell you is that they're also doing a lot more testing, and I see that because I get reports just about daily from the Ministry of Health. And it shows the number of tests that were run the previous day, and it also tells you how many people, basically how many accumulated cases we have, and that. But so the number of cases still keeps going up, but and the number of new cases increases a bit from day to day over the previous day. But they're also doing a lot more testing. In some cases, like twice as much as the week before. So they're testing twice as many people. And yes, there's going to be people that are testing positive. But the bottom line is, not everyone that tests positive for this gets sick. As a matter of fact, very few people get sick. And the mortality rate is still down around, what they say, less than 1% or something, somewhere around 1.5%. And so it's you can play with numbers all day long, but it's interesting that about this mass thing. I'm just going to drop it here. Yeah, I've started to carry a mask too. Not that I wear it all the time, but there's some places that you cannot go into without a mask on. So I mean, little do they know, I pull the same dirty mask out and put it on that I've used other places. But it's tough because a lot of professionals say you shouldn't be wearing these things all the time anyways, because you're actually sucking fibers into your lungs, and that's not good for you either. They're not meant to be worn, 10 or 12 hours a day if you're out and about or if you're working. And so, who knows? 5 years down the road, we may have all sorts of people with lung problems. It's one of those 6 1 half dozen of another. But yeah, it's crazy, and as I say, the stats can make make numbers appear to be different than what they actually are. So when you hear that the number of cases is going up in Ontario, well, those people may have had it anyways and not been tested, and we would never have known, and they would never have known they had it because they're just fine. Let's see, VA3 RTV, Jeffrey.
Thank you, Ed. And I just trying to think of something that's just a little bit more entertaining. I'd like to just share with everybody a little quick story about Paul. I said to Paul, anything you would like to do, as it was, it's getting on in years. And he says, I'd love to go to Buckhorn, where I built a cabin, and go and see if it's still standing there, because he lived off the land and what have you. So I picked up John Deacon, and then I picked up Paul, and we went to McDonald's near where he lives, bought a map, and I said to Paul, now, all you've got to do is show me where you built the cabin. And he did not have a clue. And he was telling me that he just went into this bush, liked it, built a cabin, dug a well, and sort of lived off the land and that for about a year. And then the owner came to him and saw what a nice job he did and said that he could stay there as long as he wanted. So in any case, he has this desire to go back to see it. So I said, so here's the map. Just put your finger roughly whereabouts it is, and we'll drive up to Buckhorn and try and find it. So he looked at the map, and he did not have a clue. No idea at all. So I said, so Paul, when was the last time you were at the cabin? He said, let me think. It was 1953. I said, okay, thanks, Paul. And with that, back to you.
Oh man, very good. So did you make the trip and did you find it? I'm going to assume that it was a no on both those counts.
Correct.
Okay, very good. It's like the golf story, the old guy's out there golfing with the young whippersnapper, and the young guy, there's a huge tree in the way, and the tree is like 70 feet tall. And the old guy says, when I was your age, I would just take my pitching wedge out and, just lob it right over that. And so the young guy, thinks, okay, well, I can't let this old guy show me up. So he goes in, grabs his pitching wedge, he hits a shot, smack dab right in the middle of the tree. And he looks at the old guy, and the old guy says, yeah, he says, well, when I was your age, that tree was 12 feet tall. Oh, what? No one's laughing? What a tough crowd tonight. Anyways, let's see. VA3 BTQ, Jackie.
VA3 BTQ, hi Laird and everybody. Just wanted to let you know that White Feather Farms also sells Kawartha dairy, not in the cone, but in the container liters. And also there is a outlet put up on the main street in Port Perry last year. Now, I haven't noticed whether it's still functioning, but it's there. It was set up to go last year. So that means White Feather or Kawartha Dairy is a lot closer than Enniskillen to a lot of us. Over.
Oh, I agree. There's one in Bowmanville as well. There's one now right by Costco, just north of Adelaide on Ritson. But there's something about going to the original store, to that old creaky wooden floors, and the atmosphere and everything. It's like on a cold winter's day or autumn day, you want to go over to Tyrone Mill and walk through there and check out all the woodworking equipment upstairs that can still be run on water. And then have a nice cup of hot cider and a fresh apple donut that they make there. It's the atmosphere, it's the ambiance, it's the experience. But yes, I noticed that White Feather does have the ice cream in the handy 1 liter snack pack, so that's good too. And so You just grab a spoon, take the lid off, and away you go. Anyways, VE3PWJ, Peter.
Yeah, I guess everybody can have ice cream except me, but I guess I'll have to get along with it. That's the way it is. I'm getting to be like Doug now, Laird. Can't have this and I can't have that. So that's what I'm doing. Don't get old. It's not worth the bother, for sure. And when Jeffrey was talking about trying to find a place, when we were down there the other day to drop some water softener salt off for Farney, and I wanted to find it. I could find the old farm that my aunt had years ago. That's the lady that turned 102 just the other day. And believe it or not, I found it, and I really thought that was quite something else. But things have changed a lot since the last, remember that area there. Anyway, we'll say 7-3 from here. There. Have a great rest of the net, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night.
Yeah, and you're not alone. Just to let you know, you're not alone with the ice cream there. I'm in the same boat, but I keep a liter in the freezer, and every once in a while I just have a spoonful or two, and it satisfies my desires. And but those are still good places to head to, and when you take the kids out or friends out, it's a great place to go. VE3 CRU Bill. Okay, VA3 TPS Steve.
Okay, very good. Well, another good night. Lots of discussion. I'm sure it'll all work out. Like I say, the AC log there, one that we use, if the guys are only going to do no more than 30 contacts, you can do it for free. If you're only going to get on and do a few contacts, you can it'll do 30, and then after that you have to pay for it. $8.95 US, whatever that is in Canadian, $10 or so. But anyways, we'll figure it all out within another couple of weeks. I'll be listening to the end. Thanks again, Laird. Great job. 7-3 to everybody. Have a great night. We'll see some nice weather coming up next week, so we should enjoy that. VA3 TPS up here at Fenelon Falls.
Oh, notice how he rubs that into everybody. He just drags out the word Fenelon Falls. Oh, Steve, you're terrible. I didn't think you were such a nasty guy, but when you do that, you're nasty. Hi. Next thing you know, it'll be the handheld on the dock, enjoying the sunset with the fishing rod in the water, picking up a few fish. Oh my, don't get me started. VE3 VGJ Joe.
Yes, Laird, good. Get some information now about this logging software. I think next little while we'll tell what we're going to do with it. I don't mind spending the $10 to get it if that's the way we're going to go. And also, I forget who mentioned it about Helinda's. I was in there yesterday getting some stuff, and yes, they got you all spaced 6 feet apart, and it's all organized in a special way. But the people behind the counter are bumping into each other, going around each other, and that was kind of a mixed message there. Hi. Great job there, Laird. Thanks for doing it. I sent you an email with some suggestions for rag shoe topics, ragnet topics, and other than that, back to you.
Okay, greatly appreciated for the topics, Joe. I know you're one of the regular guys that will send me stuff, and it's always nice to get some suggestions, because after a while your brain just gets totally fried and you have no idea what to do. And especially after so many nights. I mean, who knew we were going to be stuck doing this for so long? And not I shouldn't have said stuck doing this. That makes it sound like it's horrible. But I mean, you know what I mean. Who knew that we were going to be into this 12 weeks when we started this? I thought maybe 3 or 4, and then life will go back to normal, but no such luck. VA3 DCE, VE3 LKS.
VA3 DCE, did you want my wisdom and experience on logging software, or should we go on to something I know something about, like ice cream? For Peter, try the Chapman's no sugar added. It's a no sugar added thing. It's still got carbohydrates in it, but the no sugar added just makes you feel a little less guilty about having some ice cream.
And forget this 1 teaspoon at the top, Laird. If you get to 10, they can start counting after that. Other thing, Uxbridge has a quaternary in town. It is the actual quaternary structure. It's not one freezer in somebody else's building. It's an actual quaternary. So if you really have the urge, there's always Uxbridge. Back to you, Laird. And by the way, your brain is still doing okay. If you've gone through this many rag chews and we've still got topics to talk about, you're doing okay. Back to you, Laird.
Yeah, well, it's as I say, it's thanks to guys like a couple of guys like Joe and I think who else is? I think Jeffrey's given me an idea or two. I think you have too. So it's nice to have ideas, just for those nights when you don't have ideas. And yeah, that no sugar added ice cream always slays me, because when you look at the serving size and the amount of carbohydrates in it, then you look at regular ice cream. There's not a lot of difference. There really isn't. So it's sleight of hand. Again, we're getting back to stats and numbers and how they can make things appear that like they're not. Let's see, VE3HIX, Bob.
Oh, thanks, Laird. I've just been having a look at N3FJP, his Facebook site, and he talks a bit about this. And the important part seems to be, in addition for 2020 only, an aggregate club score will be published, which will be the sum of all individual entries indicating a specific club. Ordinarily, club names are only published in the results for Class A and F entries, but the important part, the temporary ruler for 2020 allows participants from any class to optionally include a single club name with their submitted results following field day. So it looks like we each have to put in our own, or submit our own file that comes from the software, and then we can optionally put in the name of our club. So what I'm going to do, I hope, is with the new version of this stuff installed, I'll make up a couple of files with different operators, and I can do it once or twice, and then have a look at the file that gets submitted, because my operator will be VE3HIX, but the license is VE3NSR, and I want to see what's on that actual file that gets submitted, if VE3NSR is in there, or if there's nothing in there, if it's just comma separated values, and we just put whatever we like at the header, and we'll get back to you with the results on that one. Hope it's not too complex. VE3HIX, back to you, Laird.
No, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, we'll eagerly await your answer tomorrow night, since it's going to rain all day tomorrow. No, tomorrow's supposed to be nice. Friday it's going to rain, so we'll give you until Friday night, Bob. And very good. I appreciate that. Every little bit helps, and the more people that can take a look at different things, the lighter the load is for everybody. I appreciate that. VE3KZT, John.
Sounds good. Sounds like we're winning on the logging program, and that's a big thing for me. I need to figure that out for sure. And I have nothing to add. I'll be here till the end of the net, sir. 7 trees and good night.
Okay, very good, John. And yes, and as I say, if you need help installing that, we can probably help you out either over the phone or with a team viewer session, and get that set up for you. Apparently, it's not all that difficult to install, so I think we should be okay even just over the phone. But those options are available. VE3, NMD. Darren, maybe tap out Morse code with your microphone. Okay, nothing heard from Darren. So VA3WBZ William. And William, are you going to be operating field day this year?
Probably not. First off, where is field day going to be? That's the first question.
Well, the answer is in your own domicile. Because of the COVID this year, very few clubs are going to be able to get together to do an actual on-site field day, because you have to have social distancing and all that, and you're still only allowed so many people. So the ARRL have made an exception this year, that single stations can make contact with other single stations and get points for it, and that B, single stations can submit their points, but then also have those points applied to a grand total for a club. So it looks like a bunch of us are just going to be working from our homes and doing it that way.
So what I might do then is set up a portable unit in my front yard. Put in a stick antenna up in my front yard on a pole, something like a flagpole, stick it there, and maybe run my radio off of, take it out of the van and run it off of a battery. Maybe I could do something like that just for the afternoon or something like that there for the field day. That might be an idea as well, just to do it in my front yard.
Yeah, a perfect idea. Yeah, I know some guys are going to plan on doing it out in their backyard, put a tent up, or in the driveway with the trailer. I think I'll probably just do mine from the comfort of house, just because I usually do have really terrible allergies by that time. And so if I'm in the house with air conditioning, I'm fine. But if I go outside, I'm good for about an hour to 2 hours, and then I'm toast. So there's all sorts of options that you can go by, and you can either use like a generator, a battery, or grid power if you want. So it's pretty wide open this year.
What day is it also? That's the other thing too.
Okay, it is going to be the weekend. Let me see if I can pull up my calendar. It'll be, I believe, June 27 to June 28. So it'll start at, I believe, noon on Saturday and then noon on Sunday.
Maybe on the 27th. Maybe on the 27th. Maybe, I'm not sure. I know the wife wants to have celebrate my birthday on a Saturday. My birthday's on the day before, it's Friday. So I think she wants to go and do something on Saturday. So maybe on Sunday I can do something there. Like I say, take the radio out of the van, or this one I'm using here, the Icon 9000, and set up a little table on the front yard with an umbrella and a battery of an antenna, and just work from there. Maybe I could do that. That sounds like an idea.
Yeah, and you know what? When you think about it, that's a perfect station for field day. Because field day, the whole intent behind field day is testing your ability to work under conditions that are not normal. So definitely, placing yourself outside with a battery and an antenna on a flagpole or something like that is definitely not normal. And it's exactly what field day is supposed to do. It's supposed to be an exercise to test our ability to work in any conditions, should there be like disasters or other types of emergencies. So yeah, that'll work great. Let's see, VE3 RPM.
I'll say 73 as well there. They want to scoot for down. VE3 WBZ clear.
Okay, 73, William, and thanks for joining us this evening, and look forward to chatting with you again this week. Let's see, where was I again? Oh yeah, Scotty, VE3 RPN.
V3 LKS, V3 RPN, and good evening there, William. Yeah, the way it looks right now, I'll probably be running my 10 meter, I might even do it mobile, because I got one antenna that I volunteered 2 years ago to do 10 meter. 10 meters usually dead, but for some reason, for a couple of days there, the conditions warranted that I was actually getting stuff on there. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Either way, I'm
to take them driving in the Standard. They've gone from a Tesla to a Standard. Anyway, great job, buddy. And we'll be here hopefully tomorrow. I may be on the YouTube again, depending on Linda. And if she's still working at her dad's there, I'll be over at the house. Keep an eye on Mom, but we'll be on YouTube. Have a good night there, and we'll be listening. VA3RPN, over to you, Reg, shoot control.
Comment?
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, a little message for Darren. He wants to put up a tower. I got one section of tower if he wants to read the little notes down here, that he can have it if he wants it. Get him started anyway. That's for Darren. Okay, that's it. I'm clear. VA3WBZ clear.
Okay, very good. Appreciate that, William. And Scotty, yeah, taking the grandkids out on the Standard. Let's see. Do you have one of those whiplash neck braces? You might need that. See, when I taught my boys how to drive Standard, I sort of did it the easy way. I did it in the winter time, and so we take them out to a parking lot on a day when no one was out, and I put them behind the wheel, and they could pop the clutch all they wanted to. Most of the times it would just spin the tires, but it wasn't a lot of jerking as such, and so that's a very good way to do it. Even they still stalled, but it wasn't jerking all your vertebrae from your neck down to your butt, and so you may want to consider holding off until the winter time when it snows. Let's see, VE3IGX cam.
Okay, nothing else here. So I'll say 73 to everybody online, and we'll be listening for you all tomorrow night. B3LKS, B3IGX.
Okay, very good, Cam. Just want to thank everyone for checking in this evening, and I'm going to take one last call for check-ins. So if someone's there on the side and wants to jump in real quick, now's your opportunity. This is Laird, VE3LKS. Okay, nothing heard. Let's see. Is there anybody else that has any other questions or comments they need to make before we shut down the net tonight and everyone disperses? Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Yeah, hi. Just one quick thing comes to mind with my friend Paul. He was down at No Thrills at Bloor Street, and he called me because his truck wouldn't start. So the first thing we did is we went in kidding, dogs, the birds, and that was all pet food. There was not one thing for him. Any case, that's giving you a bit of an idea, like what very, very religious and loves animals. So we go to the truck, and so the distributor cap, it's easier to distributor cap than it is to plugs. And I said, well, Jeffrey says you do, Paul. Any case, I went and got the necessary bits, put it in, and he was away. And with that, have a good evening, everybody.
Did he ever have any family, or was he always just by himself?
No family at all. And I think Lois and I kind of adopted him as soon as he an 86 Suburban ex-hydro truck, all hand-painted and fiberglass and everything over it, a piece of junk. The police knew that truck, and there was one time where I had pulled me over, and I said, I've just got to get this truck just to the end of the road here into storage. And he said, yeah, we know this truck. We'll give you we'll follow you in and make sure you get there safely. So they know the truck and homeless and everything. So, any case, it's been quite a journey with
three. No problem about that. Going up to try to find the cabin from 1953. I know you never went up, but